Good day, everyone. I'm Ivan, the moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone to today's webinar, which is FDA Best Audit Practices. Get ready for the inspection that is coming. I want to introduce our presenter for today, Charles H. Paul. Charles H. Paul is the president of CH Paul Consulting, INC, a regulatory training and technical documentation consulting firm. Charles has been a regulatory consultant to the life sciences industry for over 20 years. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, Charles.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our webinar today, FDA inspection readiness, preparation for the inspection that's coming. We have about 2 hours today to overview and cover the content that we have. So we've got a lot of stuff packed in here that we need to cover. So let's just go ahead and dive in. Now to introduce the subject as we get started, just to introduce here as we begin. If you are in a regulated business, which I assume you are if you are in this webinar, pharmaceuticals, medical devices, biologics, or foods, you will experience an inspection by the US FDA at some point in time. Now, the outcome of those inspections can have a grave, significant impact on your business, even if you and your colleagues have done everything right. So how you and others behave and interact with FDA inspectors can have an impact on the results reported. So interacting with inspectors is one of the things we're going to talk about today. It's not a natural behavior. Now, effective techniques have to be learned and mastered if those inspections are to have positive outcomes. We're going to talk about all of these things today. Now, these are the topics that we're going to address today. We're going to delve into a comprehensive exploration of crucial topics related to this compliance readiness process, and this inspection readiness process, and what the successful inspection interactions need to be. Now, we're going to begin by demystifying the mechanics of the readiness process, shedding light on the intricate workings of audits, including who undergoes audits, the frequency of those evaluations really, and an in-depth understanding of the inspection process itself. We'll explore the height of compliance in terms of the concept of doing the right things right, encompassing the harmonious integration of operational practices with compliance mandates. Now, I'll provide some guidance on the strategic selection of subject matter experts, which a lot of these webinars always overlook, of a very significant subject area. And those SMEs play a pivotal role in ensuring compliance and certainly in ensuring you're going to get through that FDA inspection successfully. We'll delve into the essential knowledge and skills that they require and outline effective training methodologies really that empower them to carry out their roles proficiently. Now, we'll also prepare participants in this webinar for the inspection process itself. We're going to offer insights into what to expect and how to proactively prepare. And we'll also explore the readiness inspection from the auditor's point of view, the mindset of that auditor, the mindset of that investigator, to really help you to align your approach to that FDA audit more effectively. And lastly, we'll address responding to and interacting with inspection teams, navigating their behavior, and mastering effective communication techniques. Now, let's go ahead and go through our introduction here. So because of the importance and criticality of what it is we all do in the life sciences, life science regulated manufacturers have to be inspection ready, really at all times, aligning their organization with the expectations of those regulating agencies. So let's begin by discussing who gets audited, the frequency of those audits, and the inspection process itself. Now, the frequency of FDA inspections can vary depending on several factors, including the type of product, the level of risk associated with the product, and the compliance history of the company or organization being inspected. The whole inspection process is at the majority about GMPs, and I'm sure you know GMPs are a set of practices that are required to comply with those regulations and industry standards that ensure that your products are as effective as you claim they are. The FDA selects companies to be inspected primarily based on risk, as I've already said. Companies that manufacture drugs and higher risk medical devices are most likely to be audited. Before we move on, now these inspections are conducted to ensure that facilities comply with regulatory standards critical for safeguarding public health. What are the types of inspections? Now, there certainly are many. So the US FDA conducts various types of inspections to ensure regulatory compliance and the safety of products within its jurisdictions. Now, these inspections are carried out across industries such as foods, drugs, medical devices, cosmetics, biologics, and certainly more. The Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, it really empowers the FDA to approve a new drug application, an NDA, for new drugs, an abbreviated new drug application, an ANDA, for generic drugs, and a biologic licensing application to BLA for biologics. Post-approval audits are typically conducted after a drug or medical device has been approved for marketing and is being sold to consumers. Now, these audits are designed to identify any safety concerns or quality issues that may have arisen since the product was approved and to ensure that the manufacturer is complying with all FDA regulations. And finally, we've got drug manufacturing inspections here. And again, these manufacturing inspections are a critical component of FDA oversight of the pharmaceutical industry, ensuring that the companies are adhered again to GMPs. Now, a company found to violate applicable regulations during any of these inspections really may face an FDA communication on significant violations through a warning letter called a 483. Now, again, what is the 483? The 483 is used by investigators conducting the investigation to conduct their findings. So if no findings are found, a 483 is not issued. Now, the 483 will not normally include actual regulatory references related to the observations reported. Now, let's talk about inspection preparation. Now, let's look at the basic inspection preparation steps that you can take. Now, being prepared for an FDA inspection is extremely important for companies in the regulatory industries. Now, companies can ensure a smooth inspection process by following a few basic practices. Both drug and medical device operations really can do a lot. I mean, you can do a lot as part of this process to improve your inspection preparation. What can you do? You can implement a robust regulatory compliance program. Keep current of industry trends. So obviously attend conferences, summits, webinars, and review personnel, professional applications, really to stay really on top of current news and views. Have a company inspection team with specific roles defined and trained. Let's overview what happens on the day of an FDA inspection. This is a day in the life. And again, at the start of the inspection. Now, the inspection process generally begins when the FDA inspector presents a notice of inspection, and that document is called an FD 482. So a couple of things to remember. So during an FDA inspection, your representative should determine from the investigator really the scope and the purpose of that inspection. All materials given to the investigator must be marked confidential and or proprietary. Now, FDA investigators are permitted to view some documents while they are not permitted to view others. We've already kind of skirted some of those already. Now, I've already talked a little bit about what they can't see, so let's kind of review that one more time. It's easy to say, they're asked for, we're not going to give them to you. But how do we really do that? How do you refuse access to those documents that we've just listed? Handling these situations with professionalism and preparedness can really help to maintain a positive relationship with these regulatory bodies while protecting your company's proprietary information and certainly your legal rights. So as we continue with the inspection, so we get to the point where we're complete, we go through an inspection process. So at the completion of the inspection, an exit interview is conducted. Now, upon return to the local district office, that investigator is going to complete a document called the Establishment Inspection Report, the EIR, post-inspection. Now, at the completion of that inspection, other work still has to be done. Company representative really needs to prepare a written report and maintain a file of the subjects, operations, documents, and activities that were inspected and are performed during that inspection. Warning letters. So if the inspection has an OAI, the official action indicated classification, the FDA is going to send a warning letter. And that's going to describe the violations that they found and request along with a request for a reply, usually within 15 working days after the receipt. So subject matter experts, or what we call SMEs, they are critical to successful FDA inspections for many reasons. Their expertise, ability to communicate complex information clearly, and their role in demonstrating compliance all contribute to smooth interactions with those FDA inspectors and can significantly influence the outcome of an inspection. So basically, first step is, what is an SME? What is an SME? So a subject matter expert, who they are individuals with specialized knowledge and expertise in specific areas related to the industries and products related to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. There are some basic reasons why SMEs are indispensable. Now, who are they? Specifically, who might they be? Selecting the proper SMEs is crucial. Now, just to reiterate some of the things that we look at, the basic step-by-step approach on how to make this selection. How do we select a good SME? How do we select our SME cadre? We do this through a process. Is to have SMEs who not only possess the technical knowledge required, but also have the interpersonal skills to effectively interact with FDA inspectors. Let's talk about preparing here for a moment. So what is the preparation process that we talked about? Now, let's look at this whole process here from the inspector's perspective. So from the FDA inspector's perspective, becoming and I use this slide, I say, know your FDA inspector. Now, there are some basic key points that capture the FDA inspector's perspective during a readiness inspection. Now, how are FDA inspectors trained? So that's also important to know. So they also prepare for an audit. They also get ready for the audit that they're going to conduct with you. Now, let's review as we finish here how you should act and interact with inspectors during the process. Now, interacting effectively with the FDA audit team is of paramount importance due to really its far-reaching impact on regulatory compliance. Not only demonstrates your commitment to meeting regulatory standards, but also fosters a collaborative environment that can positively influence the outcome of that audit. There are many behaviors that will certainly help as well as hinder when participating in an inspection. So the key is knowing the difference. So in general, number one, always be professional. Always escort the inspector at all times. Always remove records which have been reviewed from the room. Obviously, never lie or cloud the truth. Never give false data. Never argue with or challenge the investigator when responding to a question or observation. We talked a moment or two about body language. So how you display your body language is also important. So how you answer questions posed is just as important as your body language. It is basically a process. So when a question is asked, what do? You take a deep breath. You listen carefully to the inspector's questions. You pause to formulate a proper response. Then you need to answer the question only after it has been fully stated. So there are certain phrases really to refrain from using, and all these are gathered from actual scenarios and situations that investigators have heard of. So these are phrases to clearly train your folks really to avoid. Also, always avoid ambiguous language or words such as normally, typically, generally, and usually. They're non-precise. We want to make sure that we introduce precision into the answers that we provide. So dealing with difficult or belligerent FDA inspectors can really be challenging. So handling difficult inspectors is as much about maintaining your composure and professionalism as it is about adhering to regulatory requirements. Stay calm, be prepared, and use appropriate communication tactics. You should be able to get through that process without too much difficulty. A successful FDA inspection typically signifies that an organization meets or exceeds the regulatory compliance standards set by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. This achievement, getting to that point, can have really several positive implications for the company. So even in successful inspections, FDA inspectors can provide feedback and suggestions for further improvement. And you can use this feedback to make continual improvements in your organization, staying ahead of compliance issues. So thus, a successful FDA inspection is not about avoiding negative outcomes. Is not only about avoiding negative outcomes, but also about enforcing the organization's commitment to quality, safety, and continuous improvement. Some basic tips for doing it right. As we finish up here, or we talk about this, let's kind of review some of the main points here. Work with the FDA. First of all, work with the FDA. Too many companies view the FDA as a threat, as the enemy. So working with the FDA provides an advantage. Treat inspectors as human beings instead of the enemy. Taking these steps makes the inspection easier for both organizations. Although no one has a crystal ball and can anticipate any and all requests or issues that might arise, that may happen during an inspection, be prepared, be organized. That can certainly make your experience really as positive as it certainly can be. We've shown you how to do it. We've shown you what the process looks like. We've shown you how to execute that process. And we've shown you the things that they look at and the things that they review. So it is a methodical process, really, that we're talking about here. Their approach to your investigation is a methodical process. They have a process. We've shown you that there are documents out there that you can use as guidance documents to help you, to give you the answers to the test before you get the test in terms of what they look for and the areas that they look to investigate. So on that note, folks, I'm going to ask our host to come back. I would like to thank everybody first of all for participating today and for being at our seminar and webinar today. We've talked about a lot of things. We talked about certainly one of the most important things that I think is selecting proper SMEs and how to deal with them. We talked about the fact that the FDA is transparent, and they certainly have the documents available to you so that you can get a good leg up in terms of what they're going to be looking at and the levels of detail and depth that they're going to take through their investigations. We've delved into the minds of the FDA inspector in terms of what they think, how they're trained, the knowledge that they have, to give you a better insight into the individual that you're dealing with. And we finally talked about how to interact on a basic level with your FDA inspectors to really minimize any potential harm that could occur through miscommunications or bad communications. So on that note, I'd like to thank everybody for participating today, and I hope to see you again at some of our other offerings. And have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. That concludes the session for today. And thank you everyone for participating. You may all disconnect now, and you have a great day ahead.